Seriously, Bud is brought to you by OmniSend. OmniSend is a top choice for email and SMS marketing on WordPress, perfect for WooCommerce shops. Easily connect with customers and send out awesome campaigns every day.
Hello, my name is Bree, and welcome to Seriously, Bud, a podcast featuring an unexpected conversation with someone in the WordPress community. And now it's time for my dad, Bud Kraus.
Thank you, Bree. You know, I had so much fun last week speaking with Anna Herko. I thought I would do this all over again. Now I'll be back at the end to give you my thoughts about this week's episode. It's number 42. So here we go. Andrew Palmer, welcome to Seriously, Bud. I don't really know you. I don't know you at all. So I'm going to start with
a drum roll.
Yeah, that drum roll. Maybe how appropriate, because what I want to ask you is, you have an ex-wife and an ex-partner?
I do.
Yes?
I do.
These are two different people? Okay, explain.
Well, I got married and I got divorced. So that's my ex-wife. That's and I had a beautiful child with her called Brianna.
Right.
And she's now 22 and a great kid going to college and stuff like that.
Right.
And I'm still very friendly with my ex-wife.
Right.
Have Sunday lunch very regularly, at least once a month or something. And I live with my ex-partner, who's a nurse and a community nurse. So she works in the community and she's respiratory specialist. So so I live in the same house as my ex-partner because we're great friends. There's no reason not to live together.
I wasn't sure when you said ex-partner exactly what you were referring to. Could have been anything.
Yeah.
But now you've clarified that.
Gotcha.
All right. I got to ask you about your dad too, because your dad was born in Belfast.
He was.
And shortly after being born in Belfast, he moved to Glasgow. And you recently found this out. How'd you find that out?
My sister, one of my many sisters, I've got six, or I had six sisters. I've now got four because, you know, people get old and pass away and things like that. And one of my sisters, Maggie, is doing she's in charge of the family tree. I found out to my benefit that my dad, who I didn't actually know, I met him when I was 14. But my dad, because he was born in Belfast, I can actually get an Irish passport, so I can get over all the Brexit nonsense and I can get an Irish passport and go to Europe and go and stay and live in Europe and stay in Europe and work in Europe with any issues at all. I've just got to apply for the passport. And I found that out actually through another podcaster, Mr. Nathan Wrigley, who has an Irish passport as well.
Never heard of him,
no. He's in the periphery. You don't want to know about him. But basically, yes. So I found out that he was Irish and I could, through the recognizances of my dad, I can get an Irish passport. So that's how I found out through Maggie, my sister, who does the family tree. So that's it.
You say you met him when you were 14.
The earliest memory I've got of him is meeting him when I was 14. Yeah. And I met him for about an hour. We went for a walk on the beach. I used to live in a place called Hayling Island, and we went for a walk on the beach, and I met, maybe I was a bit younger, maybe I was 12 actually, so I'm thinking I met my half-sister, who is now 50 odd, but I met her and my stepmother for the first time as well. So I met my sister and my stepmother.
Now, where was your father when you were?
He was off with this other woman. He went off and married another woman.
So you were raised by your mother?
My mother and a series of uncles. You know how it goes.
Andrew, I have to tell you, both Hans Skilrud and Pecha Neri suggested that I talk to you because you have a most unusual story. I'm already getting the sense that you have a most unusual story. My goodness. Where do you even begin? Because we've already done the first 14 years and I'm totally confused.
Yeah. Well, no, we moved around a bit as well. I mean, we moved, I think it was 13 times in 5 years because we were brought up on welfare, you know, because we were a family of 8 that my dad left my mum with a family of 8 and 2 young babies. I mean, he wasn't even aware that we were born, basically.
Wow.
So that's kind of, you know, 60s and, you know, a lot of things that were different in the 60s. And he just went off with this other woman who's a delightful person, actually, who since passed away about 7 months ago. But, you know, my stepmother was a very nice lady, really nice. And my half-sister or my sister is a beautiful person, so this, it's a nice extended family, and you just learn to live with the, roll with the punches, really. But we grew up in a seaside holiday town. I was working since the age of 11 in amusement arcades and cafes and things like that. So during the summer, so we earned our own money from a very, very young age. Moving house because you're on welfare. So you're going from a summer let to a winter let and a summer let and a winter let. And then your mum gets a new boyfriend. So you move in with the boyfriend, and that may not work out because she's got 2 young, horrible kids still at home, and all that kind of stuff. So life is a whole bundle of road bumps, really, and sometimes you get a very nice smooth highway and everything's great for a while, and you stay at school for a good period of time, and then you hit a road bump, and that could be to do with the relationship that your parents are having, or it could be to do with school that you tend not to go to too often because the summer season starts before the school holiday, so you want to work in the arcades and earn some money, so you kind of just, as I say, you just roll with the punches.
Did you ever get, I would think you would, angry about this? I mean, that your life was constantly, or it seems like, you're on bumpy roads sometimes. And
yeah, I don't think we didn't get angry. We got more, no, it wasn't. I mean, we did have, but for a particular period of time, we had a very abusive stepfather that used to beat the crap out of us for no apparent reason. So that then turned into, I've got 2 other parents as well, which are foster parents, and they're still alive. They're beautiful people, Hazel and Bob. They live in the West Country in Devon, and they took us on because my twin brother was hospitalised by my stepfather, and I was not far away from being hospitalised. So, so that became a situation where they took us on as guardians. So they became our foster parents, and my parents, my mum and my stepfather, just went off to another town, lived in another town. So we were looked after by Hazel and Bob, which I'll be forever grateful for them. They were parents, basically, and they were school friends of my sisters. They went to school at the same time as my sisters, and we ended up living at their house. And actually from the age of about 13 to 15 and a half, we were kind of looked after by them. And then I had to, because the welfare wouldn't support them any longer, they wouldn't pay for our upkeep, or, because they had 2 young children as well, 2 children similar age as us. And I had to go and live with my dad when I was 15 and a half, which I didn't really like. So by the time I had to go and live with a chap that I didn't know, and a person I didn't know, the stepmother, and a sister that I didn't know because she was off at private school. And then by the age of 16, my dad kicked me out because I was a bit of a reprobate. My hair was down to here, and I had earrings and all that kind of stuff. So I ended up living in London on my own in a place called Hounslow.
And what did this do to your school life? Did you go to school?
I did go to school. I skived a lot. I did, we call it skiving. Yeah, I did skive a lot because I could earn, because we didn't have any money.
What is skiving? You have to translate that for me.
Skiving, yeah. So it's truancy, or whatever you call it in America. We skived off, basically, because there was work. We could work in amusement arcades and in cafes. And I used to work in a little cafe called the Rio Cafe, I think it was called, in Hayling Island, another one. This guy owned 2 cafes, and my brother Bruce and I Bruce used to take the money because he was cleverer than me, and I used to cook in the kitchen, used to make all the steak pies and the fish and chips and all the fried breakfast. And we did that from the age of 11 until about the age of 15 and a half, till I left. I was gutted when I had to leave Hayling Island because I lost my jobs and I lost my income. So I'd always worked from the age of 11, either as a key man in a amusement arcade, so I'd open up the machines, and it was a great opportunity to chat up girls as well, because you were a person of authority with the keys around you, and say, excuse me, my machine's broken, or whatever, so you go, don't worry, darling, I'll see you on the beach later, all that kind of stuff. So you've got a nice history. You're going to imagine this was in the 60s, early 70s, 75. I was 15 years old in 1975. So, I was just getting interested in girls and all that kind of stuff. I was having a great time. Then all of a sudden I had to up sticks and go and live in this very posh house. My dad had a very, very good job and lived in a pot. I'd never known a house with 4 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms and a big...
When you say your dad, you're talking about your foster?
No, my dad, my real dad, my real dad. When I lived with Bob and Hazel, they had a nice house in Hayling Island. It was a family house, and that was great. But when I actually lived with my paternal father, my real dad, I had to go and live with him because the welfare said they weren't going to support us anymore with Bob and Hazel. So we had to go and live with my dad, which was hard, because he was very strict, he was very authoritarian, he was very pseudo posh. He was a Glasgow boy, grown up on the docks, joined the Navy, retired as a lieutenant commander, and basically, he had discipline in him, so he was used to being the authority figure. And of course, when this person turned up that went, "Oh, I don't want to cut the grass today, thanks. There's a girl called Tracy I'd like to go and see," all that kind of stuff. So I ended up on the end of his boot when I was 16.
Hey there, pardon my interruption. I just wanted to take a second to tell you about the WP.world. It's the place to go to find out what people in the WordPress world are doing and let others know what you're doing too. That's the WP.world. Now back to the show.
And I'd managed to get a job. I was a waiter at the airport in a restaurant called Tavern in the Sky at Heathrow Airport. And I'd had a job and I was earning quite a lot of money at that time. 16 years old, 100 quid a week plus about 50 or 60 quid a week in tips, making my own living. And I just ended up renting a bedsit near Heathrow Airport. And that's when my life started, really.
Were you living in London?
I was, yeah, when I was...
Let's say 1980...
1976. I was 16.
I might have seen you on my honeymoon.
In 1982, in 1982, I was living in Glasgow. I was a private detective. Yeah. So, I had a few jobs.
So how did you become a private detective?
I was a motorcycle courier in London. I turned it, I decided not to be... I became a waiter at Tavern in the Sky, earning lots of money, and then I decided I didn't like that anymore. And my friend, actually one of my older brother's friends, Gordon, lovely man, came to see me in my bedsit, and he just said, "This is unacceptable. I can't have you living in this 10 by 10 room and paying £10 a week rent and whatever." He said, "You can go and live at my mum's house, which is nearer Heathrow." So I went there, and he said, "You can live in my room because I'm in the Navy and I'm going to go away." And then I decided to. I had an accident at work where I had an argument with a chef, and I was a waiter, and the chef heated up one of those silver platters, so it literally burnt my fingerprints off. So I basically was off sick for a while, and I decided not to go back. I got paid, it's fine, because it was I think the chef got the sack and everything, but that's what chefs are like, vindictive lot. But then I went and I managed to get a job. Well, I was homeless for a while, actually. I lived on there's a lovely little town called Isleworth, and I was homeless for about 4 weeks, and I was staying on this little park bench. It was in the summer, so it was all right, and I was a kid. And I was staying on a park bench in a place called Isleworth, and there was a restaurant called the Ugly Duckling Restaurant. So I was traipsing all around London trying to look for a job, getting the Evening Standard paper, and a landlady of a pub was helping me out and allowing me to shower and lent me a suit and all this kind of stuff. So, but I still stayed on this park bench, literally park bench. And ironic, she gave me some money as well for the tube, for the underground. And I was traipsing all around, trying to get a job in a restaurant. And my trousers were just this much, 6 inches too short. So I looked a bit of a dork. And ironically, less than 150 yards away from the park bench was a restaurant called the Ugly Duckling Restaurant. And as I was walking past the restaurant, I saw a notice in the room, live-in waiters required. So it just solved my problem straight away. £28 a week, live-in. And this guy, Chris Iliadis, I'll never forget his name, actually. He was a Greek guy. He employed me illegally because you had to be 18 to be able to serve alcohol, and I was only 16 and a half at the time. But he put me up I had a bedroom, and I had to share it with a girl, actually. But anyway, I shared my bedroom with the girl, and I was a waiter in the evenings and I was a chef in the mornings. So I used to have to start work at 7 o'clock in the morning, and they taught me to cook. It was owned by Greek Cypriots, but it was actually a French restaurant. So we served filet mignon and things like that. And yeah, I worked there for about a year. Still got a very, very good friend of mine, Kay, who at the time was only 15 and a half, and she's now obviously 60 odd now, same as me. And she now has her own pub in Oxfordshire, which is great. And I still see her to this day. So she's the oldest person I know. That's what we say. You're the oldest person I know, when we really do still keep in touch and in regular contact. But basically, I got a job as a waiter, and this guy persuaded me that I could be a cook and a waiter in the evenings and live in. So I lived on tips, really, because he used to take £8 a week off me for rent. So he paid me 28 quid a week and then took £8 out of my wages for rent. But there you go. Life's like that.
But I want to know how you got from those days to becoming a developer.
Yeah, well, the other story is the private detective. So yeah, there's a lot there. I don't know whether we've got time, but I'll very quickly go. And then I got fed up of catering. My dad bought a hotel and we'd fallen out and everything. And he said, well, I hear you're a chef now. Maybe you can come and see us. And I was 17 or maybe 17 and a half. And I said, well, yeah, maybe I can do that. So I went to live with him for a while in his hotel and it didn't work out. It was like, if you've ever heard of Fawlty Towers, it was exactly like Fawlty Towers. It's a hotel called the Sutherland Hotel in North Devon, but it just didn't work out. But anyway, so then I left there and I had a motorbike. I'd saved up enough money and I had a motorbike and I decided to be a motorcycle courier in London. Eventually, within kind of 7, 8, 9 months, I ended up being a dispatch controller, guiding the motorcycles around London. And then I actually ended up owning the company with a couple of other guys. We became directors of the company. And then I sold the company, made some money, opened up another dispatch company, sold that. And then I was sitting around not knowing what to do. And I went to work for another dispatch company. And I met a company called Nationwide Investigations. And they said, you'd make a great private eye. I went off and I was a private detective for a year. Crazy.
Well, Andrew, what you've made is a great serial entrepreneur. Your whole life is buying and selling and building. And, it's amazing how many of these that you've done of different kinds of business. All right. So you're a private detective. Tell me, so what were you doing as a private detective?
It's pretty much domestic. My wife's off seeing another chap, or my husband's off seeing another chap. We did a few interesting kind of industrial espionage type things. We tapped a few phones with the permission of the business, because in those days, telephone calls internationally used to cost literally £10 a minute. It was an incredible amount of money. And there was this company was spending hundreds of thousands of pounds a month on phone calls. And we just tapped all the phone calls to see who was doing it. And it turned out to be these 3 South Africans that worked for Barclays Bank. It was Barclays Bank that we worked for, that were making hundreds of hours of calls to South Africa and costing them hundreds of thousands of pounds a month. So that was one of them. And then another one was a lift company who will remain nameless, but the guy stole the blueprints of a new lift or a new mechanism, sold it to another lift company, and we were representing the other lift company, and we basically interviewed him and took the blueprints off him and then reported him to the police, because it was just industrial. It was copyright, IP and all that kind of stuff that got involved. So that was interesting, but mainly it was domestic.
Yeah. So did you ever feel in danger?
No, I'm a big chap. You've not met me, have you? I'm a big chap. I don't really fear. I'm not fearful of anyone really.
So nobody bothers you?
Not really. No.
Yeah. All right. So how do you get, though, to the beginning of your life as a developer? Is that your career as a developer?
I wouldn't say that I'm a developer. I would say that I'm an opportunist. I mean, one guy in the community way back, was trying to be rude to me and said, you just hang off the coattails of talented people. I basically took that as a compliment. I took it as a compliment. Why not? It's just, find some good people, get, to motivate them, try and get them into sales, or try to get them to sell a product. And do that. So I found developers who did some stuff. I shared in the spoils, which was always a minor percentage of what they got, or, a smaller percentage. And I basically built up with others. We started an Elegant Marketplace. There were 6 of us. 4 people dropped out within 2 weeks. 3 people dropped out within 2 weeks. But we all invested a max of $100 on Elegant Marketplace, so $600 income. And then only one guy, when he quit, asked for his $100 back. But, the others, and then another guy will remain nameless, because if I name him, I'll just say something horrible about him. But, we managed to get rid of him. And I mean it, we really did manage to get rid of him, because he's a nightmare. And then unfortunately, my business partner died about 4 years in. And it nearly went a bit pear-shaped, but, there was shenanigans with bank accounts, which I didn't have control of, and I had to borrow a lot of money, and I managed to sell the business. So that was good. And I sold it to InMotion Hosting. So it was all good and made a lot of people a lot of money.
Well, that's always good. Now, you've never thought of building a business and staying with it till the end of your time?
Yeah, always, sell it, build it. So think of it, build it, sell it. Yeah, do it, sell it. Because if you have a proven model, I've had restaurants as well. I'm lucky enough to have 3 restaurants. Build them up. And also you get tired as a person. You get tired and bored of the challenge, because even if you look at restaurants particularly, and I'm starting another one in January, most restaurants change their menus every 6 months. That's not for the customer's benefit. That's for the chef's benefit. And the owner's benefit, because otherwise it's like working in a factory, you're churning out all of this same stuff all of the time. And yeah, you can have a fish and chip shop or a burger bar and stuff like that and maybe have a special on there. But I don't think, unless you're going to start a franchise like McDonald's or, any other big burger place, Five Guys or something like that, and try and make it into money rather than be, have it as a, can't remember what the word is, but basically do it as a vocation. That's it. And just have one restaurant. You've got to have the 10 restaurants to turn it into a different business for you and a different challenge. Because the challenge when you first open up a restaurant is to get customers in there and for them to love you as a restaurant. Then the next challenge is to open up a second restaurant similarly, or a different second restaurant, or start a franchise, or do whatever you do. So you're always, as entrepreneurs, they're always looking for new challenges. The challenge with me is that I get bored within 5 years. I'm just had enough of stuff after 5 years. It's just like, that's my limit. I said to the guys when we started Elegant Marketplace, we're selling this in 5 years' time. This is a 5-year plan. And I sold it 4 months short of 5 years. So, I've always stuck to the plan. The restaurants I've had for 5 years, they've gone after 5 years. Not gone, they're sold, and I'd start the next thing. And that's where I'm at.
So you build everything with an exit plan.
From day one.
Huh, that's so interesting. Yeah. Now, what about Bertha? That's your latest talk?
I see. Bertha's
I will let you talk a few minutes about WordPress.
Oh, Bertha's slightly,
this is the WordPress
Bertha's
part.
Slightly different. It's with a chap who I had lunch with on Sunday, him, his wife, and his lovely couple of kids, and he owns Atarim. And I was the first investor in Atarim.
Oh, I love the guy, so we could say his name, yeah.
Vito Peleg. Don't give him too much kudos. But no, I had lunch with him literally, it's now, I don't even know what day it is today. Was it Tuesday? I had lunch with him on Sunday. I literally went for a cup of coffee on Sunday and ended up having a beautiful lunch cooked by Mikhail. So it's great. But Vito came to me. He had Atarim. We were successful with a product launch on Elegant Marketplace. Gave him like a year's run through for money and everything. He earned quite a lot of money within a 30-day period. And then a couple of years in, I'd got rid of Elegant Marketplace. I had some money. He needed some investment. I gave him investment. I was the first investor in Atarim. And just before he went out to the real market, where now Joost de Volk and Marika are involved with Amelia Capital, and a few other guys, a couple of hosting guys that sold their hosting companies and made loads of money. I'm a very minor shareholder now. I think I'm the smallest shareholder, but in shares terms. But it was interesting to see the growth of Atarim and the changes with Atarim. Vito came to me early May 2021. He said, I want to do AI. I said, okay, because he knew I had developers and he knew that he didn't have any time or money to put into it because everything was focused on Atarim. And I said, okay. So we just went off and did Bertha. He came up with the name. It's totally his idea. He came up with the name and I'm the sole investor in it, in time and money. And we've made some money from it. It nearly died because ChatGPT came out for free. So we literally lost every single paying subscriber overnight. It was literally within 24 hours, everybody had cancelled their account with Bertha. So we kind of went, oh dear. So, we're fighting back, but Bertha's great. I mean, she's fun. It's fun I've stopped developing on her now because there's nowhere further for her to go that $1 million wouldn't cover. I need $1 million to do what I really want to do with her. She's washing her face. And as soon as she either stops washing her face So, i.e. not costing me anything, or somebody wants to buy her, then, I'm keeping Bertha forever and a day, unless somebody wants to buy her, which is fine.
Before we do any more with Bertha, I do want to say, if you haven't listened to the episode that I did on Seriously Bud with Vito, I highly recommend you go to seriouslybud.com and look for the Vito Peleg episode, because he has a great story that I did not know about until I talked to him.
Yeah, and seriously, Bud, he doesn't even mention my name.
No, he didn't.
Don't worry, I gave him a punch on Sunday for it. Don't worry, I told him I was on this podcast. I said, thanks for mentioning my name on that podcast. But anyway, we're great pals. But Bertha AI is built into WordPress, and I've just heard some great news about AI in WordPress, where there's a phenomenal chap out there called James LePage, and he owns used to own WP AI and Agent WP and Code WP and a couple of other things. One of the cleverest, nicest, beautiful people I've ever met in my life is James LePage. I think he's 23, 24. He managed to get some investment from Calm Fund. He's built phenomenal AI into WordPress, and Automatic have just bought it. So, which is incredible news for WordPress. Not such good news for people like Bertha or any other AI that's going to be in WordPress, because whatever anybody says about Matt Mullenweg, he's got his finger on the pulse and he knows what's going on. And what will happen with
I know he does.
WP?
I agree.
I think he's made the purchase of the century myself. I think what they're going to do with AI in WordPress is going to be phenomenal. I mean, I can't wait to see it. Literally can't wait to see it. So Bertha may have a very short shelf life, but we've got big competition coming into core. I think AI in WordPress will now be taken over by core. So, will Bertha survive? I don't know. I literally don't know.
I have two more things I want to discuss with you. Okay. And that's, first, you play guitar, right?
Kind of.
Actually, three things.
Yeah, adequately. I play guitar adequately.
Okay. What do you mean, kind
of?
Well,
I'm not the prettiest thing on the planet, and we straight away that as soon as you start, you start playing guitar, there's only one reason I play guitar. But I've got a girlfriend of mine, she won't let me play guitar in front of her. So because she don't want to be overly influenced. But
really,
simple as that. Because I only write my own songs. I write and sing my own songs. So I can't sing anybody else's songs because I'm rubbish. But yeah, I can play guitar.
Were you a kid when you started? And did you start because this was a way to get girls?
No, I was 36 when I started playing guitar. The same time as I started. I kind of mucked about. Actually, no, I kind of mucked about in my early 20s because I lived in a house with a load of people that were musicians, and I learned bar chords. And then I bought a guitar. I've got two guitars. One I had made for me when I had a lot of money by a very good guy that used to make violins and violas and cellos and stuff, a Lutheran. So he made me a guitar, which is beautiful. I love playing that guitar. It's hard to play though, because it's just, the action's a bit funny on it, and I trod on it once and I needed it repaired and stuff like that. But I haven't got one in my log cabin at the moment. It's in the loft in the house. But yeah, I've got a couple of guitars. I play guitar occasionally. I'm not sad enough to play guitar these days. I'm quite a happy chap. You write the best songs when you're a bit sad.
I don't disagree. Now, I'm a strummer, okay? I'm not a picker. I'm a rhythm guy. So I play 12-string guitar, stuff like that, because a 12-string guitar is I love it. I play a Taylor, but not Taylor Swift. That's the guitar I play is Taylor. Yeah.
She started with a 12-string. That was her first guitar, yeah.
Well, it's such a beautiful sounding, even a crappy one sounds good. Mine's not a crappy one, but here's the problem with 12-string guitars. Good luck in tuning them. You always sort of like settle for an in-tune 12-string guitar. You have to settle because you're never going to get it exactly.
There's an app.
Right.
There's an app that will get it.
I know.
It's called Tuner, as in tuna fish. And it's got a 12-string guitar setting.
Tuna, that's right. I know. I have it. Yeah. I know. Yeah, and I use it, but I'm still, to my ear, it's still not, who knows. Anyway, what about the golf? Now, you once had a 9 handicap?
I did, yeah.
Is that right?
Have you ever met a guy called Victor Drover?
No.
Again, one of the loveliest people I've ever met
Don't
in my
know.
life. He's a lovely man. He treated me to 9 holes in Thailand at WordCamp, and I played like a dog. But I mean, there were moments there. But I had a bad back. I said to him, I'm not sure I'm going to play, but I had a bad back. He's a great guy, and we had a round of golf. But yeah, I played consistently off 9 for 5 years. So yeah, I was a member of very, very good clubs.
Did you ever play in Scotland, like Andrews?
I've not played St Andrews. I played Carnoustie. Yeah, I've played Carnoustie.
Oh, really?
Yeah, a couple of times. St Andrews is difficult to get on. It's a lottery. You can get on. It's because what people don't understand about these courses, they're municipal courses. So they're non. Yes, there are you do get a membership to St Andrews, but it doesn't really mean anything. Anybody can pay and play. But St Andrews is quite expensive. Carnoustie is you literally walk on, and it's there for the town of Carnoustie, the village of Carnoustie. And what I was really surprised about when I played Carnoustie is that people were playing in jeans, t-shirts, and trainers, because there's no dress code.
How about
because it's literally a council course, a municipal course, but it's a tough course. I mean, and I played it in winter, so it's even more tough. A lot of golf I played in Ireland. You know, there's some phenomenal golf courses in Ireland. You've got the links courses, which are just out. You know, old head golf course. I can't remember where it is. But we played in Kinsale and Kerry and all around those places. And there's some inland woodland courses, very much like Wentworth or I can't remember what courses I've played in America. I've played golf in California, and I've played in South Africa a lot. My sister used to live in South Africa, so I used to go to South Africa quite a lot just to play golf, not necessarily to see her. But and Australia, I'm very lucky. I'm well travelled, not necessarily because of WordPress, but because of golf got me on the travel bug. And we've got Spain, of course, with a golf course every 100 yards. You know, it's literally Costa del Golf, they call it. So yeah. Played golf a lot.
All right. Now, I have two things about the golf. I've got to ask you. One, the links courses, don't they share a common green that is a fair? No, they do or don't. And before you go any further, why are you smoking?
Because I like it.
All right. Next question. All right. I'm
a reprobate. I'm drinking as well. I've got a Bailey's on the go as well. It's great. I've smoked since I was 12. You know, you asked me to give up smoking. It's like chopping my leg off. You know, saying I've smoked.
I didn't ask you to give up. I just asked why. I didn't ask
why because I'm an idiot. You know, it's just and I'm an addict. But
you're not. Oh, you're no idiot.
Key is with
you might be an addict, but you're not.
So what was the question on links?
About links? Yeah. Don't greens share like one green may share like 3 fairways?
Oh yeah. That's common because they're basically on the coast. So you're short of land. So you've got double greens and triple greens and stuff like that. It's rare. I mean, where I come from, Hayling Island, which is on the south coast of the UK, we've got one of the best links courses in the world. I think it's the 7th best links course in the UK. You know, it's a great links course, but I didn't play golf as a kid. Now, my twin brother, he is a much better golfer than me. I mean, he got down to 3, I think. I had the golf handicap of 3. He has played Hayling Island, where I come from. I never played that golf course, and it's a dream to do, but I've got a bad back now, so I don't think I'll ever play proper golf again.
Is your bad back because of golf? Because a lot of golf?
No, I fell off a stage. I was helping a DJ friend of mine throw T-shirts out into the crowd, and because I've got varifocals, I didn't see the edge of the stage and just fell off, landed on my feet, and I crushed my L4, L5, which is a very common injury. I mean, Spencer Foreman has got the same injury. He's had 3 operations in the last 3 years. I think I've had 2, but I couldn't walk I probably couldn't walk for 12 months. Properly. I literally couldn't walk. I mean, you know, and I was misdiagnosed as well. And then I had to go in for an emergency operation. I was perfectly fine. And then I came out after the operation, which was brilliant. And I could walk, and I decided to go to a party, and then I got run over in the Strand by a Range Rover. Just bumped me in the bum, and just not extreme. It was like a little nudge, but because I was unbalanced with my back and everything, and then I had to have another operation after that, about a year later. So, you know, not a lot of luck the last couple of years, but never mind.
No. Well, now, have you ever played golf in the States?
Yeah, many times. Yeah, I've played.
All right, where have you?
Where have I played? I've played. Where's Universal Studios? Is that LA? Yeah, LA. So I've played in LA. I played in California. Can't remember where, but You did play Pebble Beach?
I
didn't play Pebble Beach. We played. It was there was a bunch of us. When I went to California, I was the last choice because somebody dropped out and somebody said, "Do you want to come to California?" I went, "Yeah, okay." So I don't remember the golf courses, and I was at the time, I think I was a 14 handicapper. So I found them very difficult. I found the courses very difficult. They're different grass. I mean, like in South Africa, it's completely different grass. So it's weird, and the greens are so much faster and all that kind of stuff. So I can't...
Fescue,
yeah. And I can't remember where I played. And also it was 40 years ago. So 40 years ago. So it's a long time. Well, 30 years, 25 years ago, whatever it is. I think I was 30.
Did you ever...
I was 36. So how's that? That's 20 odd years ago, isn't it?
How about Harbour Town in Hilton Head?
No.
Yeah,
I would have loved to. I would really love to. Those are the courses. I mean, the places that I remember are Royal Melbourne in Australia, because you can't forget it because of the snakes and the roos running around. And where else? A couple of places in Joburg, in Gary Player's course by Pretoria. It's a resort, so you stay in this massive hotel, and there's 3 golf courses that Gary Player designed. I can't remember what they're called. But, South Africa, lots of Cape Town, Joburg, Durban, all around there I played golf. Just,
Wow, yeah.
It's a great place.
Andrew, I want to thank you for doing this. And before I ask you my final questions, which I didn't tell you I was going to ask you about, but you probably do know because you have actually listened to past episodes. So I want to ask you, who do you recommend that I have on Seriously Bud?
Well, I think the person that comes to mind is Stephanie Hudson. She's got a focus group. She's got a great little focus WordPress group. I think I'm not going to say who she's working for because I'm not sure that she's announced it yet, but she's working for another company in the WordPress space doing good stuff. And she's got a little thing called Focus WP, which helps out lots of employee developers and also helps out lots of clients, agency size. Yeah, so I think she would be, she's WordPress, but she's got an interesting story. She's got and we've been friends for a long, long time. Haven't spoken for a while because I just haven't spoken to anybody for a while in the last few weeks. I spoke with Steph today, which was okay. And I just said to her, I'm not speaking to anybody for a little while, but because I'm moving out of WordPress, I've sold my business. So I'm not going to be in this area for a while, and I just need to focus on, by the 31st of December, I'll be out of the web world. So I just need to focus on what I'm doing, where I'm going, and what I need to be doing without really talking to anybody. So it's just, including Steph, who's one of my BFFs, but it's just
well, I know she
I'm
is.
just a bit busy with just trying to concentrate on opening a restaurant and also trying to concentrate on making sure that I close my company nicely and tidily, and that the guys that are taking over my client list and all the assets, that they get, a fair crack at the whip at the clients as well. And also getting tied up in lots of conversations with clients saying, "Oh, why are you leaving us after all this time?" And I said, it's I've been doing it a few years now and I've had it. I've put you into another company who are great and I've dealt with them for a long time and they're really good at what they do. And you'll be looked after. And that's what I've been concentrating on in the last 3 or 4, maybe 5 weeks. But yeah, Steph's good. She's amusing. We did the Atarim presentation together and stuff like that.
Well, cool. Here's the deal with her. I have been trying to get her on the show. She knows this, okay? But apparently I just don't have enough pull, obviously. So my assignment to you is to get in touch with her and tell her she's got to go on my show and no more goofing around with me playing footsie. Let's go. Thanks, Andrew.
All right. Seriously, bud. Thanks, man.
Take care.
Appreciate it.
All righty. Hey, I didn't know that Andrew has a twin brother, moved 13 times in 5 years when he was a child, and for some time, he was homeless for about 3 to 4 weeks, had his fingerprints burnt off during a fight with a chef in a restaurant while he was a waiter, skived a lot when he was in school, is a golfer who once had a 9 handicap, owned 2 motorcycle dispatch companies, and I think 3 restaurants, had a father, father-in-law, stepfather, foster father, mother, mother-in-law, stepmother, and foster mother. Are you writing all this down? Did you? Now, as always, if you want to catch up on a past episode, go to SeriouslyBud.com and you'll see all the past episodes. Until next time, thank you for your time.